Hello and welcome to Who Corner to Corner podcast. I'm Jeff and I'm joined by my friend and co-host Paul.
Yes, that's me. Hello.
Oh, good. You got your cue. And today we have a very special returning guest joining us. It's a name familiar to Doctor Who fans everywhere and a big favourite of ours. And last time we spoke, it was the hottest day of the year and we sipped cokes at the seaside and chatted about the 13th Doctor's era of the show, among other things. Since then, our guest has written and had performed a comedy show, One Last Push, which was great. We went to see it, didn't we, Paul? He's written and been showrunner on an adaptation of Agatha Christie's The Seven Dials Mystery, coming soon to Netflix. He's consulted on the 13th Doctor Big Finish audios too, and he's written his debut novel, Death at the White Hart, which is soon to be a TV series, and we'll talk about that shortly. So he's a busy man, and he's been hitting the road in support of his book, and tonight he's getting ready to do a Q&A in London with David Tennant. So we're very grateful to have a bit of time with Mr. Chris Chibnall again. Hello, sir.
Hello, nice to see you guys again.
And you, thank you for joining us.
See you, Chris.
It's
very welcome
here. It's very interesting to see your backgrounds as well, your Zoom backgrounds. I'd like to put your novel in there. You're very on brand. I appreciate it.
Got some Jodie up there as well.
Jodie going on there as well.
And the Fugitive is there.
Can't really
other bits and pieces.
Jeff's Avatar stuff. We've just got to put up with that. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you had that fight last time, didn't you? As well?
That's it. Yeah, it's ongoing.
Every time.
We have it quite quickly, actually.
Yeah. We've got there very quickly.
Yeah.
Let's get it out of the way and done with. Basically, that's it.
Well, he'll come round to it eventually. Yeah. So, Chris, you've been all over the place lately to promote Death at the White Hart.
Yeah. All over the place.
All over.
Yeah. I've seen your pictures on Blue Sky at various bookshops, and you've had quite a few events. So, how's it all been going?
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's completely new. And it's kind of amazing to be like at this stage in a career and doing something that is totally new in a new process that you don't know at any point. You're going, oh, what happens next? What's the next little bit in this process? Oh, okay, now I go around bookshops and I drop off proofs and talk to booksellers, and that's been really amazing. It's been very one-to-one and personal and delightful. And then the thing of people reading the book, responding to early proofs has been incredible. So yeah, it's really lovely. So I've been doing that. Had the play on. Thanks for coming to do that. That was on. That feels like, I mean, it was about a year and
Yes, about
a year ago now.
Yeah.
Even a year ago, but that feels like 10 years ago. And then also doing the Netflix show as well. So yeah, I've been good, and we're in post-production at the moment. So publication day is Thursday. This Thursday, as we record this, Thursday 27th, and I'm in the grade on Thursday on Seven Dials, which is a lovely place to be on publication day. The amazing Gareth Spensley is grading Seven Dials, who obviously graded all of our Doctor Who's and continues to. Yeah. So, it's a crazy week.
Yeah. So you've got your fingers in so many different pies, haven't you?
It's very accidental because you start doing these things and you think, well, I'd like to have a go at that. I'd like to try that. And then you not thinking that anything will really come up. You know, I'll write a chapter of a novel, or I'll have an idea, or have those conversations, and you don't necessarily think it's going to work, or you're going to be able to do it, or anything like that. And now here we are, and we had a big launch event here in Bridport last night. Playing in this church in Soho Square tonight with David hosting it, which is amazing and super generous of him to give up his time. It feels a little bit surreal, to be honest, but delightful. But yes, it's like switching between all the different things. I said to you guys when we last spoke, I was like, really keen to do different things.
Yeah, you did.
And try out new things. And so that's really been the governing thing. And this is the results. And I really didn't think it would go like this, to be honest.
Well, you really have, TV, stage, and a book as well, and a bit of audio drama, involvement as well a little bit, I think.
I mean, I haven't. That's all down to the geniuses at Big Finish. I've had a few conversations with people, but which have been great. But really, I take no credit. All the stories, all the writing, all that. That's all down to those guys there. So, but it was lovely to just talk about characters and with them. It's such an amazing thing that happens after you leave the show. You're still connected into it.
Yeah, and there's an audio book for Death at the White Hart as well, isn't there?
Correct, read by Jessica Gunning from Baby Reindeer.
Yes.
And obviously from Partners in Time as well.
Yeah.
She's done an amazing job. Roy McMillan, who's a brilliant audio producer, has done it. So that comes out on Thursday as well. So there's no excuse not to buy it. Everyone, I hope so. It would be amazing if it is. But she's done a great job. The audio book's really cool. It's
brilliant.
Really, that was another lovely treat. So sitting in on a session and watching her do her stuff, watching it get produced, like just new things, continually new things, and I really love that.
Yeah,
and watching it kind of come to life in that sort of format as well.
Yeah. Just watch it, as ever, watching a great actor do their stuff,
do their magic,
sort of the magic and the craft and the brilliance, and how she brings humor and warmth and tension. It's really great. It's a really great audiobook. I'm so thrilled.
Brilliant. So we've both been lucky enough to read the book, so thank you for helping arrange that. It is brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, really.
Thank you for putting in the work.
Well, that's all right. I enjoyed it.
We
I don't say that lightly, by the way. I'm very critical of my thrillers because I've got loads of them, but it was really, really good. Honestly, it had me guessing. We just talked before we jumped in. We had us both guessing who done it, and literally until it was revealed, it's like, oh, of course it was. Of course it was that person. But I mean,
you didn't guess until that point? Or?
No.
I'm annoyed at myself, and you're happy that.
Really? Well done. That's what
I thought you might be.
Because we text each other, and I said, "Oh, I'm about 3/4 of the way through. Who do you think it is?" And you had your theories, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't think that." And this is what I thought. And genuinely, when the kind of reveal comes, we're like, "Oh, didn't see it at all."
Right.
So,
and did you feel that the book played fair with you in that? Like when it's revealed, you go, okay, that's you can figure
that's
it out,
key, isn't it? Yeah, you don't want to be kind of hoodwinked by a sudden left turn. It's like, well, where did that come from? It's I mean, it's difficult to talk without giving everything away. So I'm not going to give it all away, but yes, Chris, it was brilliantly done. I have to say, because you kind of feel good at having been this, at finding out who it is, at being told who it is. It's a good feeling. It's like, yes, of course, that was it. It's all there in the novel. It just, and some of the clues you might pick up, but they're kind of laced with other clues, so other ideas as well. There's a few red herrings, isn't there? So it's like,
just a
could
few.
it be that? Could it be this? Just a few, but it all ties up really, really neatly at the end. So talking about craftsmanship, I think, honestly, generally, I think it's a brilliant novel. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun doing it, and it's sort of those are the reactions. It's so interesting to hear. It's like when you're doing a murder mystery. It's you really want to understand how people are processing it, because it's not like any other genre of book, really. In that you really want to go, all right, how were you processing it? How were you responding to it? Because it's such a participatory genre. You're completing the book. Going, well, is it that person? What that thing they've said there, or the place they were that night? What does that mean? So it's lovely to hear that you feel engaged with it, and I love that you were texting each other with theories. And I think also then hopefully it bears if you were to go back and read it again, you would see the things that were laid down. So that was really important as well.
It would be good to have a chat about it when we're not recording, and we can do spoilers at some point, to talk, in more detail about it. Would you like to kind of give a summary of the book for listeners who may not know what it's about?
Yes. So it's called Death at the White Hart. It's now available, listeners, in audio, hardback, and ebook. And it's the story of a body that is found on a deserted A35 in West Dorset at 2 a.m. A man driving home discovers the body of a dead man tied to a wooden chair, trussed up with rope, and tied to his head is a crown of deer antlers. And the book is about Detective Nicola Bridge, who has returned to Dorset. She's a Dorset native, but she's been in Liverpool for the past couple of decades as a detective. She's returned home for a quiet life, gents. A quiet life. That's all she wants. Coming back to her hometown. And you will be surprised to learn that she does not get a quiet life because a local pub landlord has been murdered and has been found on the A35 with deer antlers on his head. And it's the story of her journey, Nicola Bridge, a burgeoning partnership with a new detective partner called Harry, and Westlife, as his nickname is in the station, and it's about how she deals with the case, how she deals with the issues in her life which have forced her to return home,
to move,
and it's really also about the lives people live now in lots of different communities, in small towns, in villages. It's really important in terms of the idea of the pub in society now, in sort of what it means to us as a country now, how it's changing, how it's evolving. You know, so many pubs are closing every week now, and what the role of the pub in a village is. But it's also about, you know, there's a for example, the jobs that the characters do and the suspects do in the book. There's a guy who in his 60s who's delivering parcels for a courier company, but who's being tracked all the time on an app and has to meet his targets. There's a woman who's running an Airbnb to gain income. There's somebody who is here under the Ukrainian Homes for Refugees. So it's and there's Frankie the barber who's working for a boss they're not sure about. So what the aim of it was to use those classic murder mystery village tropes, but talk about how life is in this country right now, and how all the disruption that's happened in the world, how it trickles down into all our lives on a daily basis, on an hour by hour basis, and because it's so different. Even to when I was writing Broadchurch, which is now 12 years ago, and makes me feel really old when I think about that. But then you had certainties like a functioning police force was a given then. Having a police station in your local community was a given when I was writing Broadchurch. It's not now, and it's
we don't have them.
It's interesting, isn't it? And
it's tax goes up, but the services get withdrawn or moved to a larger town, which I think is similar in the book, isn't it?
It's exactly that. Yeah, there's a thing in the book of the basically 3 counties have got a merged police force because of, and obviously there's been a disgraced chief constable. Their headquarters aren't built because that's been a failed project and they've run out of money. So it's existing in the world we're all living in and dealing with at the moment, and just taking the chance to do that. And I hope it's played very lightly, but it's the context against which the page turning, suspect filled twists and turns and cliffhangers play out. I hope you get the hits of all of that, and you're constantly turning the pages.
This is one of the things I really enjoyed about it, because I love thrillers, I love my sci-fi, and I love a lot of contemporary fiction as well. And this is a good merging of good thriller tropes. Almost in some ways, I don't mean this the wrong way, but like traditional or slightly old-fashioned structure. The structure is very much like an Agatha Christie novel, because why not? That works. Set up the suspects and everything else, and it kind of plays through almost like that. But what really makes it are these little vignettes, like you're saying, with the different characters. And there's a moment where is it Eddie, isn't it, who's their delivery driver guy? I mean, I loved his introduction where just as you're describing, where he's been tracked all the while, and he's got to constantly answer why is he late for this. He's got customers tracking him on their apps and stuff, and it's like, that's what I do. I'm always tracking, when is Craig from DPD gonna deliver my Doctor Who comic, because I want it right now. I don't care that he's broken down somewhere or come across a guy with a deer antlers on his head or whatever. But it's lovely, and what's the name, hanging up the blankets with the blood in the the Airbnb and just going through it, and it's like it's wonderful. It is that snapshot of modern life against the backdrop of a quite sinister murder. That image as well. How do you come up with that? Was that from the pub, or was it just in your head and you had to write it?
It was slightly in my head, and I think do you know where I think it dates back to? Because I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, where is that image? Why am I carrying that in my head? And
It's
why
quite
are
strong,
here?
quite disturbing.
Yeah,
Chris. I don't mean to say.
I think it's inspired by Robin of Sherwood.
Oh,
and
okay.
you know,
Yeah.
the Hunter in those original
Yes,
series of Robin of Sherwood, and the sort of images of the kind of the primal force in the woods. Just think that's lodged in my brain for years and years and years, and it's sort of come out in that way, because that feels the closest thing. But also, I suppose it communicates another big tone in the novel, which is this element of folk horror and creepiness and sinisterness, and the relationship to the countryside and rituals and the past is very present in the novel, I hope.
I said to Paul, I liked that it kind of starts going into a kind of folk horror, occult type thing, and a bit of
like a Wicker Man sort of thing, wasn't it?
Legend and things, and ritualistic and stuff, and the image, with the guy with the antlers is really striking. Like the US cover of the book is really good, isn't it? With the antlers on, it really kind of and the way it's written, I was picturing it all, in my head, like on screen. So, God, there's such a cracking opening for something, to set this up, and how visual it would look. It would be brilliant.
This is the other thing, isn't it? Because as I was reading, I was thinking, this is an ITV drama straight away. And guess what happens? There's an announcement a few days after that. What's going on there, Chris?
Well, Polly Hill, who's the head of drama at ITV, had read the novel. We had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. To be honest, there was a heavy amount of interest, and I finished writing the book. The thing I didn't know, because I was new to this novel writing game, was that once you've got your final manuscript, basically it goes out for sales to foreign rights, like global territories. At which point, lots of book scouts get their hands on the manuscript, and within a week or 2 weeks of finishing writing it, I just kept getting texts from people within the TV industry going, "Oh, I've just read your book." I was like, "How have you read my book?"
Where'd you get that?
It's leaked.
Still correcting the copy. Yeah, exactly. Back to Doctor Who days again. It's like, well, what's going on there? And it's so the book scouts have then shared it with. So a lot of TV companies have that have book scouts on their payroll or connected to them and tip them off about it. So we ended up with a lot of interest much quicker than I had anticipated. I thought maybe one day in the future we might think about it. So we had a lot of conversation. We had a lot of interest from a lot of different places, and ITV felt like the right place for it, because I really wanted it to feel like a properly British show made for an audience who are the characters in the novel as well. And Polly Hill, ITV, she read the novel and said, we want to do it. It's go. So I'm going to be making it with Red Planet Pictures, who made Paradise Beyond Paradise, Sanditon, Our House, they adapted as well. So it's a really great partnership. But that will be a little while off. We're just figuring out the timeline for that. I'm writing book 2 at the moment. It was a 2-book deal.
So yes, Paul said it was,
and so that'll have Nicola and Harry back again in another case in another location.
Okay.
And then we'll turn thoughts to doing the adaptation of Death at the White Hart. But it took me by surprise. And actually, when I was writing the novel, I wasn't doing with any eye on television at all.
Right.
Very liberating. Because we've talked about this in the past.
Folks, it's just as a novel. Right?
Yeah, and also when you write a screenplay, you are thinking, oh, okay, this is set at 2 a.m. That's a night shoot. That's expensive. I've got a 9-year-old girl character. Characters in the novel, and they're also out at night. We can't do that on a TV.
So you've got safeguarding and everything else.
All that kind of stuff. And I was thinking, well, good luck if anybody ever has to adapt this. He was thinking, typing away, and then it's like it's going to come back to haunt me. But it's really exciting because it's going to be. I think it'd be really, really different to Broadchurch. But
I think so.
I'm excited to see how that evolves, because I hope it's got all the sort of cliffhangers and the excitement, and also the emotional truth and psychology of those characters. I hope it's common to the show and to that was common to Broadchurch and to this novel. But I think the folk horror gives it a very different vibe.
It does, yeah. And I said to Paul, it is, there's inevitable kind of Broadchurch comparisons, but this is different in that, it's not about a child and the immediate impact on the family. Yeah. It's a different person and a different sort of community of people, and in some ways, a bit more kind of adult, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because
I think it does.
So there's traits of Broadchurch, which is great, but it's moved.
It's its own thing, isn't it?
It's its own thing, yeah, and it's quite different from it as well.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you picked up on that, because obviously Broadchurch is it's so emotionally driven, and it's the emotional after effects of Danny's death in Broadchurch, whereas this is creepier and stranger.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's he done in his life? What have people got against him?
Yeah.
And it's set at a different time of years, much more at sort of night, and it's just a little bit spooky, so it's less emotionally traumatizing and more unsettling, I think. I would hope.
Yeah, and anyone who listens to the podcast regularly knows I like a bit of spooky Doctor Who. So
like spooky.
Oh, yeah,
this going a bit spooky, I was like, oh yeah, I am here for this. So that was great. Yeah, really
spooky Agatha Christie in a modern day village.
Yeah. It's brilliant. And do you know what? Something else that occurred to me as well. Actually, it's just because you mentioned you got the 9-year-old girl character. I mean, she's fabulous and plays a critical role in the turn of events. But I had in my mind, this is the sign of a Doctor Who fan who cannot leave Doctor Who alone. But subconsciously, she was the Dalek controller from Remembrance of the Daleks. Did you?
As soon as you said that, I thought he's going to say it's that girl from Remembrance of the Daleks. And the thing. Yeah. And I this is terrible because I can't remember her name, the performer.
But Jasmine.
It is Jasmine.
Briggs, yes. Jasmine Briggs, something like that. Yeah.
Yes, but we met her at a BBC event like a couple of years ago during Doctor, and it was like, you're from Remembrance of the Daleks.
Yeah,
I think I was with Russell, or I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It's funny, isn't it? I mean. Children seeing things they shouldn't be seeing and being involved in things they shouldn't, or what do they know or what have they done? That's really a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I love.
You got kids looking into. Sorry, Joe. I was just going to say you got kids looking into an adult world, but one that's kind of warped beyond kind of sensibilities, isn't it? Where responsibilities and things have kind of been left behind, and there's people doing very bad stuff, and you have a child's eye viewing this and actually getting kind of in the action as well. So it's and I think it's that age. I don't know about you guys, but that thing of being a 9-year-old where you're evolved enough to understand just that's the other side of it.
In the other world, but not quite why, or maybe you do know why. This you can feel very old, but you can be ignored, and people cannot spot you, and people cannot understand things you're doing.
Yeah, she skulks around a lot, doesn't she? And sits in the playground outside and things, and I love the way
she's quite hard in that as well, isn't she? She's got her own troubles back at home, which have kind of hardened her, so she's perhaps a little bit more. Well, actually, I was going to say desensitized, but she's not desensitized at all. Actually, she's actually very sensitive to to what's going on, and you still feel. I mean, a real emotional kick reading her story through the novel,
and how things with Nicola go with her as well.
Yeah. I'm really glad that sort of punches out in that way, because I love that character, and it's like one of those great examples of being able to do something in a novel that's different from how you treat it if you were writing it as a screenplay, because obviously the novel itself is told from different perspectives.
Yeah.
So she's Shannon, the 9-year-old girl. You get multiple chapters from her point of view with her narration almost, and but that was part of the joy of doing a novel, was suddenly going, you can be in people's internal monologues, and you're seeing the story from her point of view, from Eddie, the delivery driver's point of view, from Patricia, the Airbnb owners, or Frankie, the barber's point of view. And it's really that, and most importantly, like Nicola, the detective, but that you're switching between those points of view, which was exciting because it's also the game you're playing with the reader. You're in those people's points of view. But someone killed this person. So whose point of view? What are they not telling you as a reader? And what am I not telling you as a reader? But what subconscious? What clues are they laying down without you realizing, or without them realizing?
So a couple of people online, so Jamie on Instagram and Matthew on Twitter, who listen to us, they asked, is there a big difference between sitting down to write a script and a novel? And do you have to approach it differently? And with what you were just saying there about, in the novel, you get to work kind of people's inner thoughts and monologues and stuff. When you come to adapt it for TV, how are you is that going to be a challenge for you to kind of, move that sort of thing into it?
Yeah, I think it's, when I ended up thinking, I would like to do it for TV, and I thought maybe I'd leave it for someone else to adapt, and then having finished the novel, put it aside, there'd been a bit of space. I was like, no, I think I know how I'd approach that. And having adapted an Agatha Christie, the first time I've adapted a novel for the screen, doing the Christie, and I really loved doing that. And actually, I was doing the Christie while I was writing the novel, so I was like taking apart the greatest crime murder mystery writer in the history of the planet, while also writing my own. And I was reading around about her, reading her autobiography, how she worked, all that sort of stuff. But to answer that question, I think it is very different. Yeah, definitely the point of view characters, how you narrate the story through them, and the insight you can get into their internal monologues and their thoughts. That's really exciting to do, and rewarding, I think, for the reader. In terms of then doing it for TV, I think you take a step back and then you go, right, what does this want to be as a television series? That will be the job. And luckily, I have a healthy disrespect for the author, so I will be able to challenge the author and
so why did he write this bit?
What on earth were you thinking? So it's going to be a really interesting process. I think we haven't started on it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But I think it will need to be its own thing. Always when you certainly the best adaptations are their own thing that sits alongside
your companion.
So
how far along is book 2 at the moment? It might be early days.
It's pretty early days. It's just in the sort of planning, storylining, first writing bits. But it's exciting. It's an idea I've had for a very long time. Thought I might do it as a DVD, but actually it's much better as a novel. It's still a murder mystery, but it's on a bigger scale than the first book.
Well, I got to the end of the book, and I was like, one of my questions I'd written down here was, are we going to see Nicola and Westlife again? And that we are. Great. There's a lot more there. I think the way their relationship kind of grows and develops across the book, and then where it can go after that as well, and Nicola's family and things. You've set things up, and it's not resolved, indefinitely at the end, and that's really exciting.
I'm glad you say that, because that's what I wanted you to feel at the end, is that you would like to see them again. That there's still lots to find out about them. That there's still lots for them to find out about each other, what their dynamic is, how that's going to evolve. That's the idea. So that I knew it was a 2-book deal all along, and if anybody buys it at all, maybe we'll get to do more, and that's really exciting to think you could follow those characters across a period of time.
I hope people will buy it, because I'd like more. So sorry, I'm hoping you'll get to come write more.
Don't apologise. No, that's the point. If everybody listens to this could just buy a copy just so Jeff can have his.
But
absolutely. We don't want to deprive Jeff of his sequel, because that would be bad.
Keep my dog in dog biscuits.
Can I just ask as well, actually? I mean, because so the character of Nicola, who is the detective around central to everything. She's investigating the murder and everything else. How do you find something, because she is refreshingly different as well, because we've got a lot of novels and a lot of TV where we have a central detective who's kind of weighted with past trauma and all kinds of angst and what have you. And a lot of those kind of, they're almost archetypal, aren't they? We see them so much.
I've done that too. Do you know what I mean?
I wasn't going to say, Chris. You said it.
It's like it is.
Why not? Because those tropes are there, aren't they? And you can play around in that sandbox. So So when you're approaching Nicola, what was in your mind to try and make her a bit different, or was that even just not a consideration?
No, it was a consideration, and but I was thinking about what is it like to live in the world doing this job now, and what you have to deal with in the job, but also what you have to deal with in your life. So all of those things, the balance between personal and professional, all of that stuff coalesces in her. I wanted her to feel very real, like somebody you know who's going through similar problems to everyone at that kind of age in her life. She's late 30s, she's married, she's got a teenage son. But she's also having to solve this horrific murder. So it was really just trying to dig into what that might be like, what that might feel like, and then seeing how she responded. And sometimes characters just start talking to you, and I hope she's a really compelling, rounded character, and I think there's a lot more to do with her as well. She's definitely, this is the start of a big journey for her, I think.
Right.
I think like you said, she feels real, like she's somebody we know. I think that's the key difference. She's not particularly like a Inspector Morse or a Jack Reacher or something like that. She could be living down the street, pop over for lunch, drinks down the pub, all of that sort of stuff.
The person you see at the other checkout in the supermarket, and that was really important.
I think initially I was a bit like, I'm not sure if I like her. I'm not sure if I meant to. She's quite sort of tough and things. And then as it develops, and there's cracks in the armor and things, and you discover
she warms as the story goes, doesn't she?
Yeah. And probably by halfway I was like, oh yeah, I really like her, and I think the way things developed with Westlife kind of mirror the way the reader goes.
Westlife is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's good. Because she's tough with him to start with, because also, I mean, also she's being confronted with she's come back for quite a life. Then suddenly in the middle of the night she gets this call. It's like, of all
last thing,
she thought she'd left all
contriving this. She did, and so she's carrying that kind of, I just don't need this. So he's inexperienced. She doesn't know who he is. He's a bit wary of her. They have to figure out how to coexist professionally. So I think you feel like she comes out and she wants to do a great job, and she's and also she's got a job where what she's been promised and how it's actually played out,
we've all had that
given, is not the same thing. So she's carrying that too.
It's so good. I'm aware of the time, so we've got a couple of other questions, but the book is brilliant. So if you're listening and you haven't ordered it yet, go and get yourself a
What
copy.
are you waiting for? Just go and do it, man.
So
thanks, guys.
What can you tell us about Seven Dials Mystery at the moment? And you were working on that when we met before, weren't you? Because we asked what you were doing. You said something for Netflix, and you were.
That's right.
That's what it was.
It had it. We were probably. I was probably writing it then, or in the early stages of writing it. We filmed it last summer across southwest England, and it has Mia McKenna Bruce as Lady Eileen Brent, known as Bundle. This incredible character of Agatha Christie's, who's not as well known as she deserves to be. She's an absolutely amazing character. And Mia, she was the lead in How to Have Sex, and she was a BAFTA Rising Star, and she's very much a star. She is incredible in it. It's a very pacey, funny, surprising, exciting, lavish adaptation. It's got dancing, it's got cars, it's got stately homes, it's got Martin Freeman as Superintendent Battle, who's a Christie regular. character. It's got Helena Bonham Carter. It's got this amazing cast. Of, all other people. I can't remember who's been announced here. It's really, so it's 3 parts. It's a hoot, and it's also it's a really twisty turny mystery. I'm really pleased with how it's come out.
Oh, brilliant!
When do you think it all start streaming?
Don't know. The Netflix are figuring out when to do that, because we haven't finished all the post on it yet, and so what then has to happen, because it's Netflix obviously, and first time I've worked with them, which has been really exciting. But obviously once you finish, they have to then dub it into every single language and subtitle it, and so there's a whole process that has to go on after you finish the show.
That's not quick.
And there's probably like a whole queue of those as well, isn't it? So
so that hasn't
in the mix
yet. So it hopefully not too long, but the big thing is, I think it'll feel like a treat when it finally drops.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah. So like we said earlier, we came to see One Last Push on stage last year, and
that was a lot of fun.
It was,
howled with laughter.
It kind of
it was good.
Escalates in the kind of calamity and stuff, but
farce, wasn't it? It's a
proper farce. Farce about giving birth.
Yeah,
which anyone who has been there can relate to it, I think, and you still had all of the the fears and the worries and things within all of that, and it was really nicely handled. So are there any more plans for that to be performed anywhere, or to maybe be adapted for screen?
I don't think so. It's hard. I always think doing those theatrical farces on screen, they never quite translate. There's a beauty and a purity to being in the theatre of those. And obviously it's like time continuous, isn't it, in both acts, and it just escalates and escalates and escalates, and that's the joy of it. So no, there aren't, and it's a very hard show to talk, because it's so complicated technically.
In
terms of
the screens and the phone element and things.
That, and then there's the birth pool. There's all kinds of things happen within the set. And all
it's trauma. It's a little dummy baby.
So there's all that. So no, it's written for Salisbury. It's performed. So we had a lovely time, and that's sort of it really. But I love writing those main house comedies there. So it was delightful to go back and do that.
Yeah, we missed you. You went the next night and had a couple of friends join you for the show.
Well, the night before we went on the last night, didn't we?
That's right. The Friday night, and Stephen and Russell and Virtue came along, and it was very nice of them. Very delightful. Laughing across the auditory.
I saw one of the quotes about the book came from Russell as well. So he also said it.
He read it. In fact, he said to me when I was talking to him about the novel that night, we were in the pub. In fact, I think we're in the White Hart in Salisbury.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Right next to the theatre. But
I know it.
It is, isn't it? It's like on the water near the.
It's the pub for the theatre, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. So we were. When we were having a drink afterwards, all of us, he was like, send me the book. I'll give you a quote. I was like, you don't mean that. He's like, no, I do. It's lovely. I mean, it's, and he was really characteristically lovely about it. And it's been in a range of writers who responded to it early on.
We've got Lee Child.
Yeah, that was a good day when that email came in with that quote. I was one of the first. He was one of the first to read it.
Really?
Was he? So shocking in the best possible way. It was Gillian McAllister as well.
And you did an event, didn't you?
Due to do one in a couple of weeks, actually.
Right.
So that's coming up probably. Can't remember. 31st of March or 1st of April.
Oh, soon.
Yeah. Just looking at the first release.
We did the launch last night with Jenny Godfrey, who's written the list of suspicious things, which is a really great book. So the support from the writing community, instead of going, who's this interloper coming into our world, they've been really lovely and great and supportive. It's been fabulous.
Yeah,
that's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it's strange that you say interloper. I know you said at the start of this, when we started chatting, it's like to be at a stage in your career and just have a first novel out, because your track record is pretty awesome, Chris. You know, Broadchurch, Doctor Who, the plays, everything else that you've worked on, everything else that you've done, and it's kind of weird. Now you're writing a novel. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's lovely to be in a different form, because you're using certain things, you know, in terms of, you know, how you create character, or how you turn plot, or structures, or cliffhangers, or all that kind of stuff is really useful. But you are still going, oh, how does this work, and how do I do it?
Yeah.
It's a lot more words than a script, obviously.
I suppose
a lot more pages and a lot more words. So it's been delightful, and I think we've talked about this before, but it's like I just really try and stay and enjoy the work. And if you're enjoying the work, then you just like to try different things, and you don't necessarily get attached to what the you know, the risks of success or failure. You just think, well, I'm going to give this a go. If people like it, that'd be great. But I really would like to see if I can write a novel.
Yeah, I love that. You know, in the last couple of years, you've done the novel, stage show, TV. It's brilliant in so much different stuff, and it's nice to be challenged, isn't it, creatively, and try different things. And
I also think coming out of Doctor Who, because you're being challenged all the time on that, because you're doing, you know, we were doing 11 episodes every season, where every new episode is a new place and a new monster and new characters and all that kind of stuff. It's like you're doing across 3 seasons, you're doing 30 different stories. So then when you come out and you think, oh, what do I want to do that I haven't done? You've covered so much ground in that then it's, so how do you keep challenging yourself in a really exciting way? And that was part of it. You go, oh, well, there are lots of different forms, and then going back to other genres I've really loved. To do a farce and a crime novel and an adaptation, it's like, I really enjoy the different things.
That's good.
Yeah. And of course, we've got Jodie coming back on into our hearts and minds very soon through Big Finish and the 13th Doctor audios.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know they love it.
Have you heard any? Have you heard them
yet? Heard any? No,
haven't you?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't heard any, but I do know.
Have you?
No, I haven't. Absolutely haven't. I'm not in my. I'm going to lie about Doctor Who. I don't need to do that anymore. No, I haven't. I know they had a really wonderful time recording them. I know from, obviously, I know Nick Briggs well, because he's just locally, how much they all the people there sort of adored working with Jodie and Mandip. It's so exciting for them to have other stories, for that to become a new thing. And it was lovely sort of outpouring of excitement when it was announced that they were doing it, and how
it really was
taken up all those characters from our era of the show already.
Fugitive Doctor as well. Sacha Dhawan specifically, his version of the Master as well, which just listen to.
I like Chester, because I'm like, which ones have come out and which haven't? And
no, they've come out. Call Me Master has come out.
Right.
Fugitive Doctor has come out, the first box set. We're good.
That's all. That's all. I don't have to keep any secrets about that.
No,
lovely conversations about Sacha's Master with them. All that kind of stuff. So amazing.
The Fugitive set, the first one that's come out, absolutely superb. Joe is so good in it. There's a story called Legend of Baba Yaga that you might have heard, just brilliant. And then we've been listening to the Master series, and I was going to say to you, actually, Paul, Sacha has got the best maniacal cackle I've ever heard.
And it switches it on like that, doesn't it? And he turns everything around. You never know what he's going to do next, almost. It's mesmerizing.
That's what we always talked about with his version of the Master. It's just always, you're never on safe ground. He's always can switch in a second, and that's always, he does it so brilliantly, Sacha.
He's so good.
And he's the loveliest man. He's the greatest human being. And then it's like, wow.
I know, just, but he's like a master that has, he is in pain as well, isn't it? I think, the thing about this box set, it's almost, it is like a self-healing process. Yeah. For me, it's almost like he's just regenerated, he's getting back into who he is, and there's this thing in one of the where he kind of wants to be good, but then ends up going bad, because that's almost like default for the master, isn't it? But the journey he goes on to get there is really something.
Yeah, I mean, he's a. I think what Sasha really embodies in it is he's a hurt child.
Yeah, that's a good description. Yeah,
but then that doesn't stop him being the most evil megalomaniacal person who's.
He'd still throw you under a bus.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, he'll concoct a really elaborate plan to get you under that bus.
To get you there,
he'll change the timetables and everything.
Exactly, and he'll be really satisfied with his own planning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, a couple of quick questions before you need to go. Do you think you might write something for Big Finish one day, or might you adapt one of your stories, your Doctor Who stories, into a Target novel? We get a lot of people asking us, both of us, actually.
That's I have to keep saying no to Nick Briggs. So Nick and I occasionally go out for a drink. Well, I buy him a drink. Occasionally we go out for a drink locally because we live in the same town, and. Occasionally, after a couple of drinks, I did do this. Like, I think, and also we watched. What did we watch? We watched the colorized Daleks. When it went out, a couple of drinks, then I was like, "Oh, come and write a Carvanista Big Finish," because I love Carvanista. I like to do that. And then the next day he texts me and go, "Are you serious about that?" And I'm like, "No, I can't. I really have to not write any Doctor. I've got lots of things to write and lots of things I want to do." So there are loads of brilliant people writing. They don't need me. So I'm resisting temptation. I'm really tempted to. But I also...
It's going to happen. You know it's going to happen on these days.
I think it will. I've written enough Doctor Who, guys. It's enough.
No. It's always more that can be done.
No. I can't. I'm going to be one showrunner who never... I've cut the elastic.
Let me pitch you an idea. How about Jodie's Doctor meets Nicola Bridge, and they have to solve an alien-related crime.
There you go.
That's book 3. There you go.
That's book 3, right there.
I feel a copyright infringement suit coming on.
It was Paul's idea, not my idea.
I mean, I would definitely love to do a Target novelisation, and we had conversations about that. It'll be about finding the time, because obviously now I've got other books to write and series to write, and I would love to do it, definitely, and we have had conversations about what, and so we're in conversation about that. It is about schedules, and the schedules are a little bit terrifying at the moment for the next couple of years. So maybe for the 30th anniversary of Jodie becoming the Doctor, maybe I'll might get around to it then.
It's going to be a way off, isn't it? It's going to happen. It has to happen. I'll tell you, because I'll be very disappointed if it doesn't. So there's time pressure and everything else coming on yourself. It's just what you need right now.
It's fine. In the meantime, I have written the book, so they can. You can have that sort of substitute in the meantime.
There you go. Just stick a Target logo on it; it'll be fine.
I didn't realise it had fallen. This is the cover on this one's slightly different, isn't it? Because this is the proof.
That's
the
proof. So the hardback has very shiny. It's a nice proof, isn't it? And the hardback has a map in the front of the area, and
really?
Quotes on the front from Lee Child and Marion Keyes and Gillian McAllister. So it's a real thing. Beauty, and it's. I just saw it in the wild yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Actually, in a bookshop, even a couple of early release. So that was pretty exciting, and I was signing.
I saw it was Waterstone's book, one of their books of the month, and every time I've been walking past a local one here in Horsham, I keep looking in the window to see if it's there coming soon.
27th.
So I'll go in on Thursday, and I'm going to do that. That thing where you take a book you like and you just casually
move it
put it.
You would, that would be great. Or maybe you could just stand in the bookshops all day reading it, and as people walk in, go, "My goodness, this is enthralling.
Yeah,
I
well,
can't
my other
stop
option.
reading it. If you could, if like everybody could go to their local bookshop and until they get thrown out, just sort of stand there holding the book with the cover very visible.
Just
so you go pretending to read it and go, wow, so exciting.
No, actually, I'll tell you what. I've already sold you a couple of copies. My mum wants to read it, and my wife wants to read it as well.
Hooray!
There you go. So
that's brilliant. And they're not allowed to share a copy. That's clear.
No,
Absolutely.
A couple of people in the Doctor Who chat group that we're on Twitter have ordered it as well.
Yeah,
so that's good. Yeah. So.
Oh well, it's exciting.
It's very exciting. You need to go, don't you? You're heading up to London tonight, aren't you?
Heading up to London to meet with our friend David Tennant, who, we're going to be me and the French Protestant Church, I think, in Soho Square for an event organised by Waterstones Piccadilly. So it's the big London launch after the big Southwest launch, global launch last night in Bridport.
I like that global launch in Bridport.
That's the central.
And then we do a thing in Soho Square, London.
Exactly. And the second night.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to go and meet the great man.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Well, have a great time, and thank you so much for joining us again. And it's been nice chatting with you on Blue Sky, and exchanging what do they call them on there? Skeets or something? Blue Sky?
I don't know.
I'm just calling them messages.
Messages.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah, it's much nicer than Twitter on there anyway. So
it's really nice, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
Same with anything. Enjoy it while it's in the moment. Chris,
exactly.
As Jeff said, thanks once again. And we wish you every success with the book. I hope it's a brilliant international, global blockbuster sellout. So then you can write more for us.
Yes.
Just
thank you very much.
Anyone else?
No. It's been lovely talking with you about it. Thank you for reading it. And
thank you for helping arrange a copy for us. Yeah,
pleasure.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant.
And
have a
thanks
great time tonight. Yeah, thanks everyone for the questions. Yeah, we had more questions, but we didn't have time to get through them all, as is often the case when people start submitting questions. But yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Check out the book. Let us know what you think of it, and we'll catch you very soon.
Bye for now, listeners.
Bye.
Enjoy.